Hello, WCW, and welcome to the Week 4 recap. I'm here this week again with True Blue. How's it going, True?
It's going good. So we pretty much banned Iron and Valk because they're not good at recapping. We're the best.
I really appreciate anyone who steps in and helps out with recaps, despite what True Blue says. But yeah, we're going back to the tried and true here.
Yeah. One other quick thing. So for those of you that play in Rebel, I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Clan. So Windy City Warmongers is going to have our own clan next season. It's going to be myself, True Blue, Big Chuck, Valkyrie, who's in chat and I just called out, S Hunter, the luckiest elf of all, and Goblin Marine.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to it. Goblin Marine and I have been talking strategy for the past couple of hours and thoughts and ideas, so we'll be sure to loop you in at some point on that, since you're probably the clan leader and stuff. But
oh, me? What? Never.
All right. Good deal. So, diving right into the recap then, Weiss, Week 4, current scoreboard standings look like this. We've got Grip This, top of the leaderboard, 301 with his Dark Elves, followed by Nillyman going 2-2-0, not losing a game yet, undefeated Nillyman, looking good with the Slab Rats. Callisti's Lords of Obey, another Skaven team, staying at the top of the boards, 201. They have a game not played quite yet this week. And then fourth place, Chaos Murder Party, Mr. Velociraptor, 202. And then tied with the XCOM Death Squad, who's also 202. And then we've got Doof, Scambammer, and Mateo rounding out the leaderboard. So, still a pretty tight division.
It is a tight division. This is really actually closer than I thought it was last week. This could be the division that takes the wild card slot.
Yep, I think that's the expectation at this point.
Yeah, I think it's either this one or Nelson. Usually the lower divisions have it easier just because they have less playoff spots to begin with, so it's easier to have that best record to get in.
Right. So let's take a quick look at the teams and see what development has taken place over the last week. We'll start off with Behold the Kickman, who are back to 4 Tomb Guardians, I believe.
4 Tomb Guardians and absolutely no levels. This team is on fire.
Doing surprisingly well for a team with no levels.
Well, that's the thing about Khemri is that they're surprisingly efficient if they can get their Tomb Guardians to kind of bully around.
Yep. Still on 2 rerolls as well. Really want to see Leader on the Throw Raw, and I really want to see that second Throw Raw as soon as possible. I actually would buy the second Throw Raw now, I think.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'd like Khemri just to get a bit of a bench here. Get to 13, get some Fowlers in. And by the way, did we promote this stream?
I did Discord? Post it in the stream in Discord, so it is out there.
All right, cool. All right, I just barely thought of that.
Diving over to the next... Well, actually, Mateo's team hasn't developed yet this week because their game is yet to be played. Somewhat of a beat-up human team. They're down to 10 players, but they do have all their blitzers and a catcher, so they've got all the important pieces. Just missing that ogre, I believe, that died last week, if I recall correctly. So hopefully they'll pick up a little bit more money, or go ahead and spend the 130 now and pick up that ogre. So they should be able to round out to 11 and start working on that development as well.
Yeah, it sucks because that was their most developed piece, was the ogre.
Yep. Just a kind of unfortunate turn of events. Very sad news here, and we'll talk about this when we get to the recap of games. But what do you notice about Hyup's team here? Do you see any problems?
I see that he absolutely hates rats.
Yep. He's down to 2.
Throwback for those of you that joined us in the other league, but Gobtown would love to have this team.
yeah, absolutely. But
oh man,
wow, yeah. Well, like I say, we'll talk about that more in the recap. But Hyup, we feel for you, buddy. And no money either. Ugh. So, actually, we're getting over to a team that has some development here. Mr. Velociraptor with the Chaos Murder Party.
This has just exploded this last game, I believe, right?
Yeah, this team
We only
looks
had like
awesome.
the Minotaur and Chaos Warrior levels last game.
Yeah, yeah. So we picked up a strength on a Beastman. So we've got the 4 Chaos, or the 5 Chaos Warriors there. Or, wait, we're missing a Chaos Warrior. There's only 3 Chaos Warriors. Oh, no. So he's got the 4 Chaos Warriors.
Yeah.
We've got a Block Beast. We've got a Mighty Blow Beast. We've got a Tackle Beast. All the makings of everything you want in a Chaos team.
Yeah, I think the only thing that you'd really want to get is probably a Wrestle Beast and try to make that your sacker.
Yep. Yep.
Basically, take the development path that Goblin Marine has taken with both of his just rat linemen, where you take Wrestle, Tackle, 2 heads. I'd actually really like to see that.
This Minotaur, with 22 injuries inflicted in its first season of play, is just taking all of the SPP away from the team.
That's fine. Minnows are cool.
22. Casualties are not injuries, are
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
Casualties, so he's gotten
6 casualties.
12 SPP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, he's doing a lot of work. 44 blocks in one season so far. 4 games? 4 games, 44 blocks. He's averaging 11 blocks a game. That's a Minotaur who's doing work.
Yes. And he's appropriately named Cult Leader.
Yep. So,
All right.
Callisti Maya's Skaven, this is still also a 3-game team. They have a game to play. But does have the Mighty Blow Storm Vermin, a couple of Blodge Gutter Runners, a Wrestle Gutter Runner, a lineman with block. I mean, this is right on pace for where you want a Skaven team to be.
Yeah, I think the only thing that you could really argue is, do you want a kick piece instead of a block lineman? I think there's arguments both ways. The block probably makes them live longer. The kick makes you potentially win more games. So.
Yep. There's an argument for it. I like a kick piece in there somewhere. Where in your development are you picking up kick is the question. Has several linemen that are ready to level up, so I'm sure one of those will pick up kick soon.
Yeah, and one thing I'd really like to see is if it gets block then kick.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's just like a durable piece that can help you win games.
Yeah, for sure. That would be really good. All right.
And then we have the much cooler Skaven team, Nillyman.
The better named Skaven team, I think the argument could
The cooler. The better overall.
Rattly Portman, block Rat Ogre. Do we need to talk about anything else here? I think that's all I want to talk about.
He has good SPP on other pieces that are about to level. That's about it.
Yep.
But you got Rattly Portman running the show.
Yeah, Rattly Portman, block Juggernaut. Excellent combination of skills.
Has Velociraptor and Nillyman played yet? Because I just want to see those 2 big guys go at it.
That's a good question. Let's take a look. Nillyman.
Chaos Murder Party and Celebrats.
Celebrats. Nope.
They already played.
Aw, they played game 1.
Oh, man.
Too bad.
They both sucked.
Well, those pieces have both come a long way since then. Let's take a look at Shia Badwitch. And surprisingly,
this team is cheating.
Surprisingly, we've got 2 Agi Up Blitzers here. That is awesome, and it's also makes the game actually hard because that's a lot of bloat on a Dark Elf team. Right now, they're actually, because they're 140k of TV and loaners, so this is actually a 1280 team value team, and only 1 blodge piece.
Yeah, you only have 1 blodge piece, but it's an agility 5 blodge. I think you're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good piece, but whenever you're giving away, potentially in some of these games, you're giving away a wizard and you don't have a bunch of blodge to keep your players standing up, it's actually, the team's actually in a tougher spot than you would think.
Yeah, I think that he's in the spot where he should be able to still succeed. Where if you give up a wizard, you still have 2 agility 5 pieces. You have all the agility 4. You have a mighty blow piece. You can surf some other things. You have the kick piece. This is essentially everything that you want. You just need to get a couple more linemen.
Yeah, you need a couple more linemen, and you want a few more blodge pieces. Like, you just want more. The thing about Agi 5 is great. Agi 5 is great, right? It allows you to do a bunch of stuff that is like cheating, but you have to look over too. This team's got 2 rerolls right now, so no dodge means you're having to roll a bunch of 2+s, and you've only got 2 rerolls for when it goes bad.
Yeah.
So, excellent development. This team will, assuming these guys live, this will shape up into an amazing Dark Elf team, but a little bit of bloat starting off here.
Yes. And then let's go to the anti-bloat elves, which is XCOM Death Squad.
Yeah. And here they are. We've got 2 dodgers on the catchers, and we've got a kicker, and that is it. But this team's doing well so far.
I would probably buy an APO just because you're at that point now. You have a couple of pieces that are about ready to level, and you just want to help protect those pieces so that way you don't lose the SPP, the gains that you've gotten.
Yeah, you want to keep these catchers alive because they're very expensive to replace. This one about to pick up, I would expect, Blodge on Raider.
No, he's just going to get something cool, like all the elves and or
just another Agi up or a strength up or something like that.
I'm thinking armor up, you know.
If you roll a 10, this is a movement 9 catcher. Come on.
Sure. All right. Yeah, but I just have a feeling that's going to roll something crazy because that's how our league is going with elves.
I would love to see a movement 9 catcher turn into a movement 10 catcher, get some sprint going on, and just have the natural 1-turner on Raider. That's my prediction.
Shades of Paul Atreides.
Absolutely.
All right.
So let's take a look at the games from week 4. First up, we had XCOM Death Squad versus Shia Bad Witch. And do you want to take the first one, True Blue?
It's all you.
All me? All right. So we had XCOM has a wizard this game, which I think makes it a little bit tough on the Dark Elves. They go on the 2-1 plan for this game. Turn 8, they make the touchdown, and they're still on 11 players. So second half, the Dark Elves receive, pick up the ball, lightning bolt comes down, knocks the ball loose, and the XCOM Death Squad's able to run out, pick up the ball, and run away with it. Immediately scores on turn 11, and that's the story. They go up 2-0. The Dark Elves have a tough time needing to score 2. They do go ahead and score. Well, they need to score 2, but they have a little bit of trouble. A riot breaks out. They lose a turn, so they've got 4 turns to score 2. Just not able to get there. That's too steep a hill to climb. So we've got a 2-1 victory for the XCOM Death Squad.
Yeah, you know that thing about dodge that you said, and I completely disregarded it?
Mm-hmm.
Shia Bad Witch had 54% dodge success.
There you go. That's kind of the tail of the tape there, too. Just because you have Agi 5, you still have to avoid those ones.
Yeah. Okay. That's suppressing. All right, now we get to the cool one.
All right.
I wanted this one
there
because Radley Portman played in this one and leveled. That's pretty much all that's worth saying, but I'll say other things. So Duve, he was down Tomb Guardian. He got Satek in a bribe. And Hold the Kickman, they just marched down the field, got a turn 8 TD, but they didn't really get anything done with it. They didn't get any lasting removals, even though they got 19 armor breaks and 64 blocks. That's insane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so apparently the Blitzer was out, even though it went and happened, but they got on to 11. A blizzard broke out, and that's pretty much anti-Tomb Guardian. And then I'm assuming Skaven just Skaven things, and they couldn't do GFIs to keep pace.
The blizzard only lasted 1 turn. It was kind of a funny blizzard. The great thing there that was almost great was the kickoff to the Khemri where the Tomb Guardian just caught it. But
oh my gosh!
But then the Tomb Guardian only had 4 turns to get down the field, and Rats were just a bit too good at defense for that to happen.
Man, I'm sure that they rolled some like red dice pals or something.
No, the Tomb Guardian was still standing on turn 16, just couldn't make any progress.
Sure, I'll believe that when I see it.
Yep.
All right.
Next up, we have the Lords of Obey versus the Human Foosball team. That is to be played tomorrow, so we'll talk about that one, I assume, next week.
Yeah.
So then we've got Chaos Murder Party versus Alphabetsaurs. This is a sad one to talk about. I mean, it hurts me a little bit. We had a Bomber Bribing Babe taken as the inducements for the Underworld team. Early on, I think turn 1 or 2, Unskilled Underworld Blitzer gets powed and dead. Then the Bomber throws a bomb. Chaos intercepts the bomb and throws it back. And doesn't end up hitting anything, but it was just really hilarious to watch the interception in 2 tackle zones and then the successful throw in 2 tackle zones from the Chaos player. Yeah, and basically from there, the Chaos Murder Party scores on turn 8. Doesn't do a ton of damage other than the dead Blitzer. Yeah, but from there, just Underworld isn't able to dig out of it. We do end up with the second Underworld Blitzer takes a death, as well as the during the second half, the block dice start firing and the armor dice start firing for the Chaos Murder Party, and they've killed both Blitzers for the Alphabetsers.
Which is depressing to see.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw, and this is just depressing even more, it was a 0 SPP game for Scam, or Yup.
Yep. Everything that did anything died.
Yes. That is insanely sad. I'm sorry, Yup.
So let's talk about Week 5 then. Coming up, we've got the XCOM Death Squad versus Behold the Kickmen. What do you think we'll get here?
This is a game of can they get removals that last as the Khemri. So if you can get those removals that last, maybe you'll be able to pull out a 2-1 grind. If not, I have to go with XCOM Death Squad and Cleric. So that's where I'm going to go with this one.
Yep. Let's see. We've got a 1080. I just wanted to quickly check for inducements. We've got 1080 on their side. Behold the Kickman is 1010, so not a lot of inducements. I think I tend to agree with the statement. It's going to depend on how well that armor holds up, and unfortunately, with not any Mighty Blow on Doof's side, it's going to be hard to get that damage that they need done, so I think I have to go with the Elves as well.
Alright, next up, we got She Bad Witch versus Human Foosball. What do you think about the game?
Well, Humans versus Dark Elves, I really like the Dark Elves in the matchup, and we've got a couple of Agi 5 pieces that can do Agi 5 games. I think if the Elves are able to have their dodge dice work for them this week, that they'll run away with the victory.
Yeah, I gotta go with She Bad Witch. I think it's going to be a very tough game for Matt to win when they have the same amount of block, essentially, and then they just have the Dark Elves just have more chances to succeed. It might change, though, just because Human Foosball has not played their game, so all of a sudden they might have 2-guard Mighty Blow to help out on the Blitzers, because those guys are all close to leveling.
That's very true. So how that other game plays out could greatly impact the Shia Bad Witch game.
Yes.
All right. Next up, Celeb Rats versus the Alphabetsaurs. We got the Rattly Portman leading the Rattly Portman leading the pack against this bunch of gobbos over here with 2 rats.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Rattly Portman, and as Puke points out, Rattly Portman is so hot.
I'm just gonna pass on that one. But
Come on.
Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
Oh man, you guys. But yeah, Celebrats, they're definitely the favorites in this. Although I will say, Yup, in my heart of hearts, I'm rooting for you to get some stuff done. I want
to Portman time.
At a minimum, I want to see some development and a big money roll. I want to see a 6 on the winnings for the Alphabet Source so that they can get a blitzer back on the field doing what it needs to do.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get some development, but I got to root for Radley Portman.
Fair enough. And then finally, we've got the Lords of Obey versus the Chaos Murder Party. What do you think about that one?
That one is going to be an interesting one. I think I'm going to go...
it looks like...
I think I'm going to go Chaos.
Skaven,
I'm going out on a limb.
Skaven will have the option of stealing a wizard or paying 10k for a wizard in that one.
Oh, I'm just going out on a limb. I think the Chaos got this.
All right. I think I'm going to have to go Skaven on this one. Skaven have been tearing up the division, and I think Callisti, with the ability to pick up a wizard for cheap, will be able to take it, capitalize on it, and it's hard for Chaos to come back from the 2-0.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that's it for Weiss. Let's take a look at Nelson, and we'll kick off with the leaderboard here. We've got Ratty Day, JJ Cash, doing what JJ Cash does and taking the top of the leaderboard, 310. Followed by, I think, what is a surprise to most people, Mr. Ironmaster with the Big D Vamps going 301 and doing really well with the Vamp team. Then we've got Puke with his Blue Blood Bretonians going 211, a pretty good showing there. Same Archangel, Elven Union, also 211, looking good. Followed by the Wrong Beards at 202. So look, this division is shaping up to be a tight division as well. All these new divisions are just really being very competitive. Then we've got,
these guys are actually having wins. We just like to tie in the upper divisions.
Yeah, I think the low divisions are going to finish with better records than Capone. Like, that's just... that's sad to say, but that's very true. All right.
Then we got Y-Fronts United, Just Ladon at 121. The poor Norse team with, the last I saw, 8 players.
Yep.
We got Saho, Kislev Circus. You have anybody's blessing if you're playing Kislev in the Fresh division.
Yep.
And then Batblood, Los Barachos, 004. I hope that he's learning the game because he's still a newer coach. He seems really interested in it. So I want to see how it plays out for the rest of the season.
All right, let's give a rundown of the teams that we've got. So we'll start out with Puke's Blue Blood. And this team looks just fine. I don't think a lot has changed since the last week. He's got that guard wrestle piece. All his blitzers are picking up most of the SPP, as you would expect. I would like to see a little bit more trickle down to some of these blockers and maybe get a little bit more guard or a little bit more just anything on some of the other guys. But yeah, the blitzers are the main pieces. They're the stars you want to develop. So it's nice that a good amount of SPP is getting up to those. We have 2 that are marching towards that 16 SPP. So looking good so far.
Yeah, and one thing that I haven't seen on any of our Bretonian teams in Windy City Warmonger is the Blocker Killer, where you take Mighty Blow, Piling On as its first 2 skills, and then block.
Interesting. That would be
I
really
know
cool.
Cyber Knight does that a lot, and he's really, really successful with Bretonians in general.
Well, that's one way to be able to generate those needed strength skills, because otherwise you're needing to roll doubles on the blitzer. So I can see doing that with a blocker. That would be a cool path of development to see one of those guys go.
Yeah. Next up, we got Archangel, Children of the Void, and this is looking like a very nice Pro Elf team. There's 2 Pro Elf teams that are building up, and this one has a lot more development. Yep.
Just a little bit short on linemen is all I'm seeing here, but We've already got a Blodge catcher, looking great. We've got a catcher with dodge. The Mighty Blow Blitzer is always something elves love to have.
Oh, yeah.
Blodge Step Blitzer, I assume he's taking either tackle or diving tackle next just to be a pain on Mr. Colossus there. Yeah, good looking elf team.
Yeah, it's a great looking elf team. You give Colossus guard if you get another double.
Yeah, if you get a double, if you don't, yeah.
This is just looking like a very good team. I know Ark is a very good coach.
Picked up the early kick, which allows you to take advantage of some of that elf speed.
Yeah, I know that he wanted dodge on that piece, but he was playing the dwarfs next, and he needed the kick.
Yep. But good looking team. Next up, JJ Cash's Ratty Day. These guys look great. Sad day, we have an Agi busted dirty player. Or not Agi versus AV busted dirty player.
Oh, it's fine. You're just going to kick things in the head and get sent off anyways.
Yep, very true. But the rest of this team, Strength Up Gutter Runner is awesome. A couple of block gutter runners, and Mighty Blow on the Storm Vermin, who is marching towards 16 to pick up Claw. As soon as that guy gets Claw, he's going to be a terror.
Well, that's assuming he rolls doubles.
Well, of course he'll roll doubles. What else do you do? Like, everyone just goes Mighty Blow Claw. That's just normal.
If that happens, I'm just gonna quit. Because you call stuff, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna set up suboptimally because I'm gonna get the perfect defense anyways.
Yeah, why not? It's easy.
In our game, yeah, that made me so mad. Next up, we got the mustard lust, and
love this team.
Yeah, this is, I think, everybody's like hoping to win.
Yep. Just in good shape. Got a fast vamp, got a block vamp, got a dodge vamp, got a tackle vamp. Several of them marching towards getting that next level, and that's when vamps start to get really cool. Once you start having a blodge guy, or maybe tackle Mighty Blow or tackle block, you start getting these pieces that are a little bit more specialized, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I know Iron says that he hates the APO on it just because it has regen, but I just want, if he gets into playoffs, I just want him to have the APO, just to have that second chance when he's facing some of those killer teams.
Yep. Flying without an APO at this point, a brave and bold strategy.
I think it's fine in this division where there's no Claw yet.
Yep.
But once you get up to the bigger divisions and playoffs, you need it. You need that extra chance to bring a vamp back.
Yep, I agree. Let's look at Yuskovic's Red Boys. This is a team that, it's Kislev. What else can you say about Kislev? He has picked up Wrestle on his first Blitzer, which is a cool choice, making that his sacker, I assume.
Yeah.
And we've also got a strip ball lineman, and we've got a kick lineman. So some actual pretty interesting, good development. These guys can start making some really cool plays on the ball with the set of skills that we've got here. So, and I see
it's going to be an interesting way that they go.
I see a few players getting close to level, so a little bit more development, and this team will start getting fun.
Yeah, it's Kislev. They always need more development. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I felt that way about, like, I've got a 1600 Kislev team, and I'm like, if I just had a couple more skills, it'd be good.
I know, and that's how I feel about my Kislev team. Yep. I was about ready to give up on them, and then, of course, I roll an Agi up on another Blitzer, and I'm just like, can I give up on them?
Yep. Just Leiden with
Y-Fronts United.
Yep. We've got a Blodger lineman. That's a double, right?
Yeah, that's a double. I'm assuming that's going to be his ball carrier, like we talked about last week with it.
Yep.
Because usually it's guard that you go on the lineman, but I could see it being the designated ball carrier trying to get a runner if you ever get the cash to buy another one.
Yep.
To take on a different role.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just a team that's starving for skills at this point to help out.
Yep. Afi the Howler has picked up Mighty Blow, so he should start generating some SPP for himself and hopefully quickly climb up the the levels there. The Berserker as well has picked up Mighty Blow, so we've got some pieces that should be able to start putting out some damage. So hopefully we'll just see a little bit more development come along on this team, a little bit more cash to fill out the empty slots. I don't know, do you save up for a runner, or do you just fill up with linemen?
I am not sure. I am not sure. Because he's in a weird spot where he might also want a Berserker.
Yep. So I don't know, maybe you save up for positionals, maybe you apologize for the barking in the background. But,
you need one of those pictures like Iron has.
I do. I need the Iron Master picture. All right. So let's take a look at the Wrongbeards, Mr. Randall Clark, who I think has a different name in game.
Yeah, it's Matt E in Discord. Randall Clark.
All right. We've got dwarves who are dwarfing it. We've got some guard. We've got a bunch of block, a bunch of tackle like dwarfs do. Yeah, this looks like a bunch of dwarfs to me.
There's one interesting choice I see on the first Blitzer that took tackle instead of guard, or Mighty Blow, or something else.
Yep.
It seems like he's trying to build him as more of a safety net.
Yep. I don't mind it on a Blitzer because that just gives you the movement 5 guy that you can keep back. He's Agi 3, so he's a mobile tackle piece as opposed to your Longbeards who get pinned down. And I don't mind it at all. You end up taking so much guard on this team, having a tackle on a Blitzer, I'm just fine with it.
Yeah. So do you take potentially an extra Longbeard since you have the money?
I probably do. I like Longbeards.
Yeah, I think that you take it and you just, worst case scenario, if things aren't breaking, you can try to kick one in the face, and then you have a guy that can come in and replace him.
The only argument I would say for not buying a Longbeard right now is if you look at the SPP spread here, and MVP levels
most.
Almost all of them. So, like, hiring a 12th does give you a dud on your MVP, but that's kind of a short-term concern.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
All right, last up, Batblood's Elves.
Los Barachos.
Los Barachos. We've got some dodge. We've got some block. Well, those are blitzers. They start with it. But, we got Mr. Killer Whale, who's just 2 points away from getting his 2nd level. So, development actually coming along nicely for this team. Hopefully, we'll start to see some better results as the team develops and gets those little edges of advantage that allow you to get away with a little bit more.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing. Usually when you think of high elves, you think that they're the bashy elves. So a lot of people like to take block or something first. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually kind of intrigued that he went dodge first with his lineman. Yep.
It does just allow them to be more mobile, so it's definitely not a bad choice. But
yeah, it's not a bad choice. Maybe you do an alternate, and that's kind of how you do things. I don't know. I'm just trying to spitball on how that would work long term.
Yeah, you could definitely go back and forth, take a little bit of block, a little bit of dodge here, because you eventually want just blodge everywhere. But yeah, not a bad start. Let's take a look at the games for week 4. Los Barachos versus the Wrongbeards. I'll take
this one.
You want that one? Go ahead.
Yeah. So it looks like Los Barachos, Bat Blood. He took a babe because that's what you want to do against dwarfs, and he tried to go for the quick score. Which usually when you're playing against dwarfs, you want to slow it down a little bit. You want to make it so that way they don't really have time to score back on you. But when they did it, they spiked the ball in their face anyways. So. Doesn't really matter. It looks like the dwarfs recovered and scored on turn 8, but they suffered a couple KOs, and then they're down men. And when you're down men as dwarfs, it's hard to get anything done. So they pretty much just held off the high elves, and they won 1-0.
Yep, that was it. And then we had...
That is a really uneventful SPP spread.
It was. Like, there was very little breakage in the second half. They just stood there and punched each other, and guys fell over, and not a lot happened.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Y-Front United versus Blue Blood. We had a Wizard and the Babe on the north side. The Norse receive and get tied up quite a bit by the Blue Bloods, but do manage to get away and score on turn 8, having to make a dodge out on turn 8 to get that score. Then they get a blitz on the turn 8 kickoff. Turn 9, they get another blitz.
Oh, okay.
And then,
that's more useful.
Yeah. And then the Norse team manages to catch the ball on the line of scrimmage just on the Brett's side. So it's a very short kick, and the Norse catch it. From there, it is just a back and forth fight for a little bit. But eventually the Bretts are able to pop the ball free, and Parzival, the blitzer for the Bretonnian team, picks up the ball, runs away with it, scores on turn 15, and we end up with a 1-1 draw on a little bit of bad luck on the back-to-back blitzes and the catch from the Norsemen. But yeah, overall it was a pretty high impact game there. Lots of bashing, lots of punching, but not a lot of damage done.
Yeah. So that's one thing I was just thinking of. I've played a decent amount of Norse, and I think Brett's might be a counter to Norse, at least early on.
Yep. They have plenty of block
fend
and wrestle and fend to match. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I've noticed. Well, that's what I was just thinking of as I was looking at it here in your description as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's go next game. We got Children of the Void versus Uskavek's Red Boys. And so the Elves receive first, and they play a really passive game, which that doesn't surprise me, as Archangel is a really calculated guy. He isn't going to overexpose himself too early. And then once the Kislev commit to pressure, the Elves just run past them and manage to stall and score on turn 8. Then the Elves made a questionable choice of Dwarf cheerleaders. That's in the notes.
Yeah, had to note that. I saw the Dwarf cheerleaders when the Elves scored, and what are these Elves doing? What are they doing?
Yeah, well, you do know that the Dwarfs statistically will give you better advantages to win the game, because the drums hype up your own players.
All right. I'll go with it.
Yeah. I use Dwarf cheerleaders on every single one of my teams. Continuing on, the Kislev play a conservative running game, managed to generate enough removals to score, and all that sort of stuff. And Elves can't manage much of a screen. The Kislev score with 3 turns remaining. Elves fire back with quick 2 score, and then a riot to give Uskavek and just enough time to get another score, make it a 2-2.
Yeah, so
I watched that game.
It was a very climactic ending to that game. We had a game that to me looked like the Elves did what they needed to do to get the 2-1, and that riot just gave the Kislev the little bit they needed to fire back and tie it up.
Yeah. Hold on. Valkyrie just said he takes dodge on his second and third high elf lineman. The first lineman gets kick. Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's how he builds them. All right. Next up, we got Mustard Lust versus Ratty Day. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a pretty interesting game to watch. We had Glark come out to play for the Skaven. The Skaven receive and play a fairly passive first half, where they're just farming passes back and forth, as JJ Cash is known to do, getting that free SPP in the backfield while scoring threats run downfield and set up for the eventual passing of the ball and score late in the half. On turn 7, they run down and make the throw, and the Thrall factory worker, the Agi up Thrall, jumps up, snatches the ball out of the air, interception. And manages,
easy lemon squeezy.
Easy peasy. I believe he was in 2 tackle zones, so it's not like it was a. I think it was a 5+ or a 6+. 6+ probably.
6+
Yep.
If it's in 2 tackle zones. If he's in 1 tackle zone, it'd be a 6+.
Yeah, so it might have been 1 tackle zone. Either way, 6+, easy peasy, snags it out of the air. The vampire blitzes down. Blitzes free the factory worker, runs down the field. Factory worker runs up to the vampire, hands him the ball. and the rats just swarm back, and we go 0-0 at the half. Vamps then receive, go for a turn 14 passing play to score, but spike the ball on a failed GFI reroll and then failed pass.
Yeah, I remember that play.
Yep. And then from there, Ratty Day sees a ball on the ground, and they do what Skaven do, pick it up, run way, way far away with it. There was a lone vampire who had a chance to sack. It was the tackle vamp, had a chance to sack the gutter runner that ran away with the ball, but he also failed to dodge and then failed his GFI to fall onto the ground and badly hurt himself, and the Rats take it 1-0.
Yeah. This was a game of what happens when your luck runs out as Vamps.
Yep, for sure.
And there's one big decision that wasn't really talked about, was the Glart versus the Wizard decision. And JJ took Glart because of Claw, and to try to break those Vamps a little bit more.
Which Glart
did
not
have
do.
a big impact on the game. He stunned him.
Well, he stunned him, but he didn't take anything off the pitch.
Well, when you have 2 less strength 4, agi 4 things a turn or a couple of turns, it really makes a big impact over long term.
Sure. Yep. And I don't know the way the offense was being played with both teams playing kind of a deep passive offense. I don't know that the Wizard would have been the right call either. So either way, well played by JJ to take that victory. First
Yes.
loss that has been given to the Vampires.
All right, and let's talk about next week where they're going to lose again. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. I haven't looked at the matches yet. Y-Front United versus Los Barachos. We've got some Norse versus some Elves. What do you got for me on that one, True?
I think the Norse are going to win. It's just one of those games where they get a little bit of inducement money. They have just the talent, just enough block to win the day, in my opinion. Especially since Los Barachos seems to favor scrums.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to succeed in that unless they get a couple lucky removals.
Yep. That'll be a tough game for the Elves. I'm just to be contrary, I'm going to go with the Elves and say if they can play that dodging game and get a little elfy on them, this is a matchup where they can get away from the Norse and do elf things. So I'll go with the Los Barachos on this one.
All right.
Next
up, we have the Wrong Birds.
Yep.
Versus Uzbeks, Red Boys. Who do you got and why?
Dwarves versus Kislev. I want to pick the Kislev because I love Kislev. There will always be a special place in my heart for Kislev. Those dwarfs are going to take it, though. They're dwarfs. They do what dwarfs do.
Yeah, exactly what you said. And then the strip ball can't really do anything. The wrestle piece is nice, but you don't really have great recovery pieces. Like you have the catchers, but that's about it.
Yep. It's just going to be an uphill battle for the Kislev team. Dwarves are kind of the counter early on. Dwarves are just so good at low team value. And yep. So Blue Blood versus Mustard Lust. We got the Bretts versus the Vampires. Will the Bretonnians stand true to their faith against the Vampires, or will the Vampires take a bite out of the Bretts?
This is going to be a tough one. Ironmaster is a very good coach. Puke has the skills to take over, though. He has wrestle, he has block, and he has dauntless. So he has the potential to knock over the Vamps, potentially remove them, and if they don't get removed, have a peasant step on their face.
Yep.
Ironmaster's been on a roll, though. He really has been enjoying Vamps. He has started doing CCL of 5-Vamp team.
Very
so
nice.
I think he's just getting too much experience recently with how they play and how to play them well. So I'm going to have to go with Iron.
The Bretts are getting a babe that game, and I'm going to throw this out there, I'm not sure if Puke has the bank for it, but I think there's a good... I don't know if this is out of line for me to say, but there is the argument, though, that I think you get, is it 60 or 70K for just a mercenary peasant?
It's going to be 30K extra.
Right. So they're 40K normally, so it's 70K.
Yeah.
I think there's a good shout for spending the 20K and taking a mercenary peasant instead of...
And just using that as kicking something in the face.
Absolutely. Just 70K extra Fowler. Remove the... Because you're dealing with a vampire that has a bigger bench than you. I mean, the KO rolls might help, but I don't know. I think there's an argument there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game.
All right.
All right.
Children of the Void versus Ratty Day. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. JJ Cash, can he be stopped? I'm not so sure. I think Ratty Day's going to take it.
And I think that JJ is going to be in for a rude awakening against Archangel. Arc he's a very good elf coach, and I think he has just enough skills to make it really difficult for Ratty Day.
All right. Little bit of contention in that pick, but yeah, that'll be a close match to watch. That'll be a game I'll be excited to see. Should be a good one for sure.
Yeah, and I believe Archangel... Let's see. Oh, no, he does not get that. That's 110, 1230. It's going to be a relatively same TV, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Really will be.
Yep.
That's one I want to watch.
For sure. Well, that wraps up Nelson's week 4, so let's dive into Dillinger. Taking a look at the leaderboard.
Yay.
Goblin Marine with his Marine Time Marinated Meat, 301, tearing it up. Duberman tied for first place, 301, with his Sithral Wardens. And then followed by Grazy at 211, keeping it close. And then we got True Blue looking like a Capone coach at the 130 mark. Hellspawn Violators, RK Blaze, got the 121 going on. And then we have Angray, who has not played his game yet this week, I believe, with One Die Palmy, 111. Barovian Knights at 13, or 013. And then Riazi's Ravagers at the 003, who is playing Angray this week.
Yes. This is a division that's fighting for 3 spots, and right now it seems like a 4-horse race for those 3 spots.
Mm-hmm.
But RK, I think, has the... RK and I think Ingra, they both have actually chances, so it might be a 6-horse race eventually.
Yep.
Depending on what happens in Ingra versus Riazi.
Yep, that's an important game for the standings.
Yeah, if Ingra loses that, I think it becomes a 5-horse race.
Yep.
So it's really important that he wins that game.
All right, well, diving into the games for last week, I want to talk about the first one because I've had a chance to talk with Goblin Marine about this game, so I've got a little bit of insight into this one. Goldblood Knights versus Maritime Marinated Meat. Goldblood takes the 3-1 victory.
I saw that he was salty after that loss.
Yeah.
Continue on.
Yeah, it was a tough game. The Bretts put on a bunch of pressure, and the Underworld team, Goblin Marine, committed very hard to the blocks early on, and just a little bit of unfortunate luck on the dice meant that he was exposed early on, and I think he just stepped on the gas a little too hard on taking blocks and needed to pump the brakes, back off, and reset up around turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But instead stepped on the gas and ran face first into the Goldblood Knights, who were able to then take advantage of that, make a bunch of blocks, pop the ball free, and take the first half 1-0. Then second half, Goblin Marine gets back in there, does what he needs. The Knights forces the Knights to score early. Underworld then fires back with a 2-turn score, making it 2-1 and giving themselves a few turns to steal the ball and hopefully go 2-2 and take the draw. But the Bretonians fire right back, score, get it up to 2-1, and then the kick is too deep and prevents the 1-turn attempt from Goblin Marine, so we end up with a 3-1 score.
Oof.
And really, I think part of the story of this game was that the block dice did not fire for the Underworld team, and that's part of what they want to happen, and I think he just went a little bit too all in on the blocking. So Just needed to take that time to set up and be a little more surgical and a little less all in on getting the breaks.
Yeah, you can't be thinking that you're Chorfs all of a sudden.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like, at least. You know.
But
and then
Bretts did a good job of taking advantage of that and ran away with the victory.
Yeah, and it's
good
gonna be a tough
MVP
game.
for Erwin Blissart. Sorry.
No, you're good. And that is a piece that's really, really intriguing. I love that piece from Gracie. Yeah, he said that he's going to break tackle next on him, and I absolutely love it. All right. Next up, though, we got a brawl of the match, just an absolute shutout. Citadel Wardens versus Hellspawn Violators. So 2-1, basically, the Hellspawn Violators received, and then it just went downhill from there, because usually Chorfs want to get the ball first.
Yep.
But they didn't get any knockdowns, and then it followed by a failed pickup. The Elves just ran in and got the ball immediately, and then Chorfs, they just didn't get very many knockdowns. You'd think that if they weren't able to get that many knockdowns, that they're able to stall.
Let me pause you there, and let's just take a look real quick at the dice rolls for the block dice for the Hellspawn Violators, and if you look at the block dice, we had 8 pals to 14 skulls. So the dodge dice were okay, but you have to realize that a lot of those were on pieces that don't have tackle. So just a lot of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah. Man, that is absolutely crazy. But the Woodies, they only got up 1-0. You'd think that they might be able to do something a little bit more. But they get it blitz, and they get a 2-turn kickoff. I was reading the notes a little bit wrong. They 2-turn, and then they get a blitz on the next kickoff. So they're up 2-0. They get the ball again. War Dancer one-die pows a bull from under the ball that makes a catch. The Chorfs continue to fail pickups, and the Elves score again. It sounded like a very healthy game when you can't knock them down.
Yeah, the story of that game was just the Hellspawn Violators couldn't pick up the ball, and the Wood Elves, every time they would fail, would run over there, grab the ball, pass it away, and score.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. Next up is my game. I can talk about this one.
Yeah,
because
go for
I've lived it. So this was a very annoying game for me, where he was giving me blocks and stuff. Well, I'll start it out from the beginning. I tried to carry on a bull, and it took 3 turns, and I failed all the pickups.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept on getting more pressure, and I couldn't really get Chaos Dwarf Murder Train rolling.
In my notes, I noted that this Chorf game seemed a lot like the other Chorf game at the beginning, because just no Chorf could pick up the ball.
Yeah, I couldn't get the ball, and then by the time I finally got the ball on a Hobgoblin, because I had to do it at that point, all the Bretonnians are just surrounding me. So it makes it for a very difficult situation, and even when I got knockdowns, I just couldn't break armor. You'll notice that 70% armor as Bretts versus Chorfs. When you have AV7, I had Claw, I had some Mighty Blow. You'd expect that number to be in the 60s at least, if not high 50s, right?
Yep, generally.
Yeah, but he played really well. He made a lot of pressure. I couldn't really get anything going. Second half, he scored quickly, and then after he scored, I all of a sudden started getting breaks. And then I just waltzed down and scored again, and I tied.
Yep, that was pretty much what I saw for that one.
Yeah.
So,
but this, to me, I felt like if I had slightly better armor, like breaking armor dice, I could have done more. If I got the ball picked up a little bit earlier, I could have done more, but that happens.
Yep, that is the curse of trying to carry on a bull centaur.
Yeah. I think that this game actually has made me really rethink the situation on how I play with bull centaurs and Chorfs in general, but I won't reveal too much about that because I'm sure Gracie is listening, and I don't want Gracie to get any ideas.
All right. Well, let's talk about next week then. Week 5.
We haven't talked about the teams.
Oh, have we skipped that part? Well, let's go through the teams then real quick, and then we'll talk about next week. So first up, 1,500 team value, Maritime Marinated Meat, Goblin Marines team. Do you want to talk about these folks? I mean, we have the legends.
You can talk about them because my game crashed.
All right. Well, we've got a Snillich who is on the hit list. This piece is marching towards legend. Someone stop him before I have to play him.
No, I want you to face all the claw. I might just have to adjust the playoff bracket to make sure that you only face claw.
If I make the playoffs with my astounding record. Yeah, this team is looking great, highly efficient. We've got the Agi Up Goblin down there. We've got a big hand Goblin. Goblin's starting to pick up a little bit more development from the total Goblin loss that happened last season.
And that's one thing that he truly thinks is that to have a good Underworld team, you need to have a good Goblin. So it's good to see him have that.
Yep, still looking for some two-headed Goblins, but I'm sure they're on the way.
He's actually looking for block and Wrestle Goblins.
Right. But that said, amazing Blitzer. Troll needs to level up and get blocked. This Troll will roll doubles first roll. I'm just going to let you know now, so be aware.
Since it's the 4th version of it.
Yep.
He has no luck in keeping trolls.
Regeneration is a lie.
It is.
Man Bear Horse, you want to talk about yourself?
What, I get to talk about myself?
I'll talk about you.
No, I'll talk about it.
All right, go ahead.
Owl Horse, he's so close to being completed, and I just don't care about what he does anymore, ball carrying wise.
Yep.
He's been my designated ball carrier for most of the time.
Yep.
As you can see, in the 11 touchdowns scored in 13 games.
What's 51?
Mighty Blow.
Mighty Blow. Okay.
Yeah, he's just going to be basically a safety that can take. Yeah. A safety that can hurt things is essentially what he is. He's a safety now.
Do Bull Centaurs get mutations ever, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
I wasn't sure.
The next one, I have more intriguing plans for him, but I won't let anybody know about that until it happens. I think I've told you about it, but I won't let anybody else know. Basically, I'm just trying to level up these shorts right now. The 2 on guard, I desperately want them to get to Mighty Blow if they only roll normals, and just have extra kill potential.
So
because that's what shorts are.
Maybe I'm wrong, but once you've got 2 Claw Mighty Blow Chorfs, I want the other ones to get Guard Stand Firm, just to generate more blocks.
That's a thought, but I just want them all to develop really well, and it just elongates the development path for them.
It does, but it does open up some options.
Yeah, I'm just saying the gap from 6 to 16 isn't that big, but from 16 to 31 without Mighty Blow feels like a lifetime unless you get MVPs.
Yep, for sure.
And so I'm just trying to maximize their development path, kind of speed them up a little bit, because once I get to Capone, I want this team to be effective with what they do.
Very good.
And then I also need to get some Hobgoblin levels. A dirty player would be nice. More importantly, I do want a ball carrier out of the Hobgoblins.
I just want to throw out there, I love KO'd by T2 Man. That's the best name.
Yeah. I actually bought 2 of them. I bought, I believe it was Scoring Man and KO'd by Turn 2 Man for the same game. And I had KO'd by Turn 2 Man on the bench, and Scoring Man got KO'd by Turn 2.
You mixed them up?
So I just flip-flopped them. If I flip-flopped them, it would have happened in the first game.
All right. Let's take a look at Riazi's Ravagers next up. Unfortunately, we've got the AV busted Minotaur, which is he AV busted now, or is he just MNG and was AV busted before?
He's MNG.
He's MNG'd now.
I was the one that AV busted him.
Yep. And then we've got I hope it's MNG. Yeah, we've got an MNG Chaos Warrior. So Riazi's in a tough spot now, but hasn't played his game for this week. This team will be coming back much stronger the week after. But other than that, good development on these Beastmen. I love the the Mighty Blow, the block tackle, the Mighty Blow dodge, I think we've already talked about. But,
yeah.
Good stuff here.
It's a team that just takes a long time to develop, and when you develop them, you really want to get most of the development on the Chaos Warriors, and he just hasn't been that lucky to get that development there.
Yep. Well, let's take a look at the Barovian Knights. Whackrob. Yeah. This team looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good team. He does lack getting guard, which I think Brett's need a bit of, but he has basically the elf blitzer.
Yep.
Really good.
And elf
the strength blitzer.
Blocker as well.
Yeah. But the strength blitzer, that is the one that really opens up plays for him to do where he's able to collapse on an area that you thought was strong. Yep. All of a sudden, you have to do something crazy to get out of a bad situation.
I love the Frenzy first blitzer as well. So this looks like the way I would develop my team, I think. Especially rolling stat ups. But no, I love the tackle blitzer. I love the Frenzy blitzer. I like having those specialized pieces quickly because then you can start making those interesting plays and chain pushes and surfs, and it's fun stuff.
Yep. And then next up, we got the Hellspawn Violators. This is the Chorf team that has more claw than me, but they just don't have the Mighty Blow.
Or the POWs on their dice, apparently.
Yeah. This is a team that is not afraid to throw fouls. This is a team that's not afraid to throw vanity passes. And this is a team that, if they get development, where they only have 2 guard, they only have 1 Mighty Blow. I've said it before, and I'll just keep on saying it. This is a team that just needs more skills, and they'll be in the upper echelon of teams in Windy City.
What do you think about the niggled Agi-Up Bull Centaur? Do you just keep it forever until it dies, or is there an argument for replacing that thing?
I'm not a huge fan of agility Bull Centaurs in the first place, so I probably wouldn't have taken it, but he has a different play style than me, and he uses it differently than I would. So
it just replaces break tackle in a way.
It does, but it's an interesting piece overall.
Yep. All right. Well, let's look at the Goldblood Knights.
That didn't die. They were supposed to die last game.
Ultra also has a strength up blocker. The other one's a blitzer. Strength up blocker, and then the movement up blitzer is also money.
Yeah, it's a very good team. He has the ball retriever. He has the carrier, the Golden Knight. Yep. And with pass skills, do you give him pass?
It's an option for sure. I don't think I would, but
I think I'd give him dodge next, and then consider pass on.
You
31.
You can get pass. I don't. Do you want pass, or do you just go accurate at that point and then hope for doubles to get strong arm?
I would go pass just because you get the automatic reroll.
Yeah. If you end up playing a passing game, I'm in the camp of maybe you just go accurate strong arm and then make it a 2+, and if you have to eat a reroll, you eat a reroll. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and then the Sacker, I think that's the most interesting part about his entire team. He has a really interesting team that's going to be different and weird to play against, as my Chorfs.
Yep,
this is going to be a fun game this coming up week.
Much more development on these blockers, which I think is important. Like, the blockers are almost as important as your blitzers for development, and this team has gotten the development on the blockers where some of the other Bretts lack. So
yeah, and again with Lewis Pureheart, if he gets another SPP, I think you give him Mighty Blow. And try to have that blocker killer.
I like it.
build.
I'd like to see it. All right. Next up, Duberman's Sithral Wardens picked up a ton of SPP this week.
Can we just add that War Dancer to the hit list? It's everything that you'd ever want. It's still annoying to play against.
The one that's just level 2 or level 3? Like, why?
The Movement 9 one?
Yeah. Nah.
Have you played against Movement 9 War Dancer? Those things are terrifying.
I mean, I've played against Golgothan's rats, who are basically the same thing as that, and
yeah, but they don't have leap.
They don't need it. But,
well, they don't need it, but he does.
Yeah.
But man, those things are terrifying just because you think that you've outran it because he overcommitted, and I put that in quotations that you couldn't see.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's sacking the ball.
No, you cannot outrun this team. You always have to play safe. You never really are safe.
Yep.
Yeah, and not to mention Duberman, very good coach. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then next up, we got One Die Palmy, Ingra. This is what you expect to see as Amazons.
Yep, and not a lot to talk about here because they are still pending their game this week. So I think this is the same team that we already talked about last week. So we've got Guard, we've got Mighty Blow, we've got a bunch of Blodgers. It's Amazons.
Yes. All right. And then next week, we got One Die Palmy versus Maritime Marinated Meats.
Yep.
Who do you got and why?
Who do I got and why? One Die Palmy versus Maritime Marinated Meats. I need to look real quick at Goblin Marine's team. How much tackle does he have? Well, he's got tackle on the killer, and that's all that matters.
2.
He's got tackle on a lineman. I think that after the AV breaks not firing at all for Mr. Goblin Marine last week, he's going to even out his dice this week, and I'm going to give it to the Maritime Marinated Meats, getting that tackle Mighty Blow in there against Angry.
All right, so you're going with the Gambler's Fallacy. Got it.
Yep, absolutely, for sure.
All right, I actually kind of like Ingra in this one. I think that he has a possibility with so much Guard and Mighty Blow to kind of whittle down Goblin Marine and make him panic a little bit. It'll be an interesting game.
Yep, yeah, it will be a good game for sure. Barovian Knights versus the Sithral Wardens. We've got a little Bretonnian on Wood Elf action. What do you think?
There's no sure hands piece. I'm going to go with Duberman.
Yep.
That's as simple as the analysis goes for me in this game.
Yeah, strip ball movement 9. It's going to be a tough one for the Knights. I think I tend to agree with you. So,
yeah.
I'll predict this next one first. Man, Bear, Horse versus the Goldblood Knights. Bretonnian Massacre. They're just going to destroy the Chorfs. No.
So, Bretonnian Massacre as in they die a lot. Got it.
No, I'm going the other way. The
Bretonnians get
Bretonnians just going
massacred.
to walk all over. No. I think it'll be a good game. This will be an interesting one. It's going to come down to whether or not you can pick up the ball, and I think the Goldblood Knights will be able to run away with it if you don't get a handle on that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a game where I want my block dice to fire a little bit better. I want to break armor a little bit better because the last 2 games, they just haven't broken as much as I felt like they needed to and how much blocks I was given.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with the Gambler's Fallacy for myself and break them.
Glad to see I'm not the only one that does that. So finally for next week, Riazi's Ravagers versus the Hellspawn Violators. We've got Chorfs and I believe they're Chaos, right? Yeah, Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we're gonna have there?
I think Hellspawn Violators, they just have too much claw, and Riazi tends to play a little bit scared when he sees claw.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that that's one of the things that's hard to do, but one of the important things in that matchup exactly is you have to play aggressive. You have to put the dwarves on their back foot, and if you can do that, then you can walk away with it. But it'll be a tough match for sure. I think I would tend to give the edge to the Violators as well.
All right, and then next up, we got Capone.
Capone in the seasons of the draws.
Very, very close division because of all the draws, but starting off with Boba's Bounty Hunters, 2-1-1, Golgothan, Scourge Saltspire, 2-1-1, Firstborn Varda and Valk, 2-1-1.
3-way tie for first.
Yeah.
And then I guess a two-way tie for fourth.
Yeah. Where you got S Hunter and his Aerial Assault. They won the championship back in Season 2. I don't remember when you won the championship. Is it like season 3?
I think it was season 3.
Yeah, and with that same team, so both former champs, besides the back-to-back-to-back guy, are 1-3-0.
Yep. Then we've got
That
Squints with 3-0-3-1. Not far behind us.
Yeah, and then I think the surprise of the entire season would be Lawcrest at 1-0-3.
Yeah, Lawcrest having a tough time of it.
I think that's just the surprise of the entire season for me.
Yep.
In all of Windy City.
Yep, and then Crychair is actually right behind him at 202. Like, the last 3 places are not that far off of 4th place at all.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be fun to see how this finishes up.
Yep, these next few matches are just huge. Wins are everything.
Yeah, would you go for the win, even if it meant a higher chance at a loss?
Absolutely.
With how the division is shaping
That's
up.
the only way I can play the remainder of my games. I'm playing for the win every game.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, let's continue on.
That said, until I lose, and then once I lose, then maybe I don't. Team Happy Orcs. Nope, this is next week. Let's back up. Orc Me Harder versus Who Wants a Woody. 1-1 draw. Do you want to talk about that one, or you want me to take this one?
This one happened just recently, I believe, right?
Yes, that was today.
Yeah. Orc Me Harder, they took a bomber instead of a bribe, and they tried to utilize the bomber. I'm not sure how well it paid off.
Knocked out a tree.
Knocked
out a tree.
Oh, that's right. It took down a tree. Basically, taking down the tree and allowing you to get pitch control is worth its price of admission for a bomber, if you ask me.
Yep.
And then he just marched up the field. I believe he scored on turn 8, right?
Yep. Scored on turn 8, and then the Orcs scored on turn 15, and a deep kick.
You mean the Woodies?
Or, excuse me, the Woodies scored. Was it the Woodies that scored on turn? Yeah. So yeah, and then and then they kicked off to the Orcs with 2 turns left, and it was in the end zone kick. So the Orcs just couldn't quite roll the dice to get it end zone to end zone in 1 turn.
Yeah, makes sense. And then next up, we got Boba's Bounty Hunters versus Aerial Assault.
In a game I could not review, we had a 1-1 draw here. Do you know anything about this one?
I watched a little bit of it. It was S Hunter doing S Hunter things. I think we were both in Twitch watching this game a bit.
I think I was
he had very few players.
Yeah.
Very few players. He scores, and I think Boba scored second.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I may not remember correctly, but Space Dandy, he is the ultimate big guy in the Windy City of Big Guys League.
Yep.
That's all I have to say about him.
That's our guy. All right.
That's my guy. I love the big guys that are successful.
Team Happy Orcs versus Skinky and We Know It. We won one! We did it! We had a victory in Season 4. I thought that I might, not make the playoffs with all draws this season, but I had a non-draw result that went in my favor, so...
I would have loved to see you draw every single game. And just swear off lizards because of it.
No. I'll never swear off lizards. They're too good.
Yeah, because you avoid the claw teams.
It's pure strategy. No, this was a good, hard-fought game. I'm trying to remember the details of it. Oh, I had to play... this was a tough game because I believe I was playing against a wizard and some other stuff. And I believe
he had Ripper.
Yeah, Ripper. Yeah, he ended up with like more strength than me because I think he had Ripper and what's the other guy?
That was it. The strength 5 thing.
Yeah, the orc. That's I believe strength. No, it might be strength 4, but it's it's strength 4, but it was whatever his name is. Yeah, so he actually matched me in strength with the big guys and the troll and the black orcs and everything, so I couldn't bully this team at all. Andy had a wizard, so I had to play that screen and go end to end, and I believe, if I remember right, I received first and wasn't able to score, and then I was able to wrestle the ball away and score on his half, and then just stall the game out from there. if I remember correctly.
No, I think you could have scored in the first half, but you tried too hard to score on a Saurus.
No, that was turn 16. I took the ball away or no, maybe I did. Yeah, I did score in the first half. I could have scored in the second half, but yeah, I tried to. Yeah, you're right. I tried too hard to score on a Saurus because it would have leveled the Saurus. But it was 1-0. I had control, and there was no way that orcs are not known for being able to go end zone to end zone. So
yes,
I took the risk of trying to get that score on the Saurus. Blew a couple of rerolls at it and just didn't get there.
Yeah. But if you got it, all of a sudden your team is that much more deadly.
Absolutely. So last up, we had Firstborn of Arda versus the Scourge of Saltspire. Scourge take it 2-0.
I could not watch the game. Can you tell me about the game?
Sure, absolutely. Rats kick off and get a blitz and pressure the ball. The elves basically spend the entire half trying to recover and get their team back together because after the blitz, the rats were able to wedge, some rats in between the line and where the ball was.
Yeah.
And then eventually the rats, because of where they're all wedged in everywhere, strip the ball away and score on the elves' half. Then from there, I believe the elves, what was it? Let's see. Skaven never let up, pop the ball, run away with it. Then in the second half, I think Eldril sets up a 1-die POW on the ball, which allows the elves to take the ball away. And the elves try and get away with it, but they're not really able to cover the ball up. And the rats run up, stone the elf who had tried to run away with it, and then go end zone to make it 2-0.
Story checks out. It was. I think this is where the Firstborn of Arda, they start to have their season slip away, just because they're playing the best of the best that Capone has to offer now.
Yep, and they are a little bit of a bloaty team who took a beating in the beginning, so it's been a tough start for them.
Yes, but let's take a look at the teams real quick.
All right,
Golgothan,
Scourge of Saltspire. We know these guys at this point. We've got
there's really nothing else to show.
We've got the two-headed guy who, listen, I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about, like, if someone can take out Skyer Creep, like, maybe I buy you a t-shirt or a mug or something like that and ship your way. I'm getting there. This guy is a nightmare to play against.
So there is a reward if you get it now.
We're thinking about it.
Okay. Well, I think if you commit to it, people will throw more fouls his way.
I mean, I have to figure out what the reward will be, but definitely something's got to happen to this guy.
Not chuck points because they don't have value.
Chuck points have the most value. And then, of course, we have Gary Friendly Light over here in Lickj. Yeah, great looking team. Then we've got Skinky and We Know It, 2100 Lizards. This is what 2100 Lizards look like. Still can't roll block on a skink, and I'll complain about it, even though my team's great.
How can you complain about anything when you have so much Saurus development?
I mean, I need a little bit more Saurus development. Like, that guy needs to level. And this guy needs to level. I believe it was Brother Skink who was going for the touchdown, because, a block, tackle, guard, stand firm Saurus would just be way better right here.
Yeah, actually, but there's so much development.
Yeah, this is just a good looking bunch of lizards.
Yeah, lizards never good looking. All right,
Aerial assault.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the stat up. That's usually the hallmark of a S Hunter team is the stat up, and
all the stat up pieces have been killed.
Yeah.
So, just a beat up bunch of elves who still just win anyways.
Yep.
Then we've got Crychair's Orc Me Harder, who orc everyone else harder.
Yeah, and I think he does need to just drop that 4th reroll, in my opinion, where it would just help him get inducements that could go in another direction that could help him win the game more.
That's probably true, because that is a 60k, like, that could be a Babe or or part of a wizard, or that's a lot of team value to carry there when he with this amount of block probably doesn't need it.
Yeah, but one interesting thing, I'm not a huge fan of going diving tackle on a black orc first.
No, that's. I'm surprised if you take a double first that it's diving tackle. But that'll be. I bet a lot of people forget about it. It probably will work more often than you would think it would.
It definitely could work, but I'm just not a huge fan of it just because it slows down your development so much in getting the next skill.
I mean, it's the same argument there as like dodge too, or any other double. Like, it's just that much harder.
Well, if you get Mighty Blow, I can understand keeping the 4th reroll if you have Mighty Blow in that piece.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Boba's Bounty Hunters. That's a hard to say, but you want to tell us about Space Dandy?
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. That's what else do you need to say about him?
Nothing.
This is a good team. He's got a couple of claw pieces. The Beastman has block. The Chaos Warrior has block. So we've got block, claw, mighty blow on 2 guys. We've got a blodge Chaos Warrior. We've got a block guard Chaos Warrior. We've got a block Chaos Warrior. So the Chaos Warriors are getting their development. This is just what 1680 worth of Chaos looks like. Boba Fett number 2 needs to move to the bottom of the list because that ordering bothers me.
Boba Fett the 3rd.
Yeah.
The 3rd.
The 3rd.
Not number 2. Come on.
Excuse me. Boba the 3rd needs to move down.
All right. One thing about Boba's team, I'd like to put a thing into change.org where we change it to Space Dandy's Bounty Hunters.
Space Dandy's Bounty? Okay. I can support that.
Okay.
All right. Then we'll take a look at Squints. Who wants a Woody?
He is in an interesting spot where he has 3 levels.
Yeah. Take your levels. We want to talk about them. I think this is the same as it was last week.
No, it's fine. He could take dodge on the lineman. Wrestle dodge is very good. He also doesn't have a kick piece. Maybe he gives kick to it.
Yep. Wrestle kick would be a good combo.
It would be a good combo. The thrower, you could give it
accurate,
dodge.
right?
I know a lot of people give it dodge. I would like sure hands on it.
Sure hands,
just so that way you don't have to. Yeah, I would like it so that way you don't have to burn rerolls in the backfield.
Yep.
And you can just use rerolls elsewhere.
Tree Fitty, hoping for doubles.
Tree Fitty, if it gets doubles, you give a block. I think you give a grab first, though, over guard.
I think grab first is almost standard, isn't it?
Some people will take guard. I've heard some people think about guard first on it, but
fair enough.
Yeah, a Valkyrie. Boba has no tackle. I have a chance. Space Dandy's just gonna roll pows. Sorry, Valk.
Team Happy Orcs, Lawcrest's Orcs. This is look at that great blitzer. That blitzer's getting near hit list material, and it's niggled.
Yeah, he is niggled. Yeah, he is absolutely everything that you want in a killer.
Yep.
Tackle, palm, jump up.
Jump up right in time.
What else do you need?
Perfect. A strength up so you don't need an assist. That's all.
Yeah, but then it does to fireball.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ruck, we have to do we nominate him now? He's got a double. He's or do we wait till 76 to nominate Ruck?
We can have the conversation about it eventually, but I just want to take a look. He's going guard first on his Black Orcs, and I think it's because of your team.
Might be. Could be.
I think it's because of your team.
Yep. Well, you have to play to the division you're in. And, Yeah. All right. And
next up,
Firstborn of
worst
Arda.
and least. We got Firstborn of Arda.
The High Vamps.
Absolutely the worst team. This is a team where he just needs to get a thrower that lives because it keeps on dying, and there goes his 3rd reroll.
Yep.
Every single time.
Well, at this point, I'm rooting for this team because they have achieved underdog status. So Valk, I'm on your side now. Until we play, but other than that.
Yeah. This is a very interesting team where he has the two vampires. One of them finally got an MVP, which was huge. I do remember that. So he's touchdown away and MVP away now to get those both block. Yep. And all of a sudden, when he gets block, I think that opens up his playbook a lot.
Yep. Those players get way better once they start getting some skills that allow them to be consistent. I think I've seen those guys knocked down from both downs and things like that way more often than you would think. It seems like it's more than 1 in 9.
Yeah, and this is a team where I think it just needs to. Maybe it took too big of a leap, but Valk is playing them well. Yep. So it's one of those teams that's going to be very interesting in how they develop going forward, how many teams are getting, how teams are doing next season, because it might just happen that Valk has a chance to go down a division where he might be able to develop them more.
Yep. That team may just be what they need. It's a division down in Dillinger to become a true nightmare of an elf squad.
Yeah, it's essentially what Goblin Marine did, and it's helped out his team development.
All right.
We could see another situation like that.
Let's talk about Week 5 real quick, and then we'll be out of here. Team Happy Orcs versus Who Wants a Woody. What do you got for me in the Orc versus Elf matchup?
I think it's going to go to the Orcs because he has a Sure Hands piece. That's Blodge. That helps a lot. Mm-hmm. And then there's just two Palmers that are just going to do Palmer things, and I think they're just going to melt the Woodies.
Yep. I think that is probably exactly what I'm thinking. So the Palmers, that team's got a bunch of loners and Armor 7. I think the Happy Orcs are going to be happy to play this one.
Yes.
All right, next up, Firstborn of Arda versus Boba's Bounty Hunters. Listen, Val.
He may win the game, but he will lose some pieces.
You got to win the game, and do not let those Chaos Warriors get the removals. Like, just stay away from the Chaos Warriors, and we'll be all good because I got Boba next week, and he's
Valkyrie, your hardest part of your schedule is coming up. That's why I'm saying that.
Yep. But
I do think that Boba has a chance to really just annihilate the team. This is probably the make or break game for Firstborn of Arda.
Yep. This is definitely going to be a tough one for them. I'm hoping that they're able to trip up the bounty hunters and prevent them from getting too much more development before I have to take them on. So that is a very biased review from me. If I'm giving my real answer, I think Boba has got a very tough team for this one, and the Firstborn of Arda, just stay away from them because they're going to hurt you if you don't.
Yes. Next up, we got the Scourge of Saltspire versus Orc Me Harder. I'm just going to go with Golgotha.
I just saw Valk's comment about, hey guys, I'm tied for first in Capone, and they're talking about relegating me. I mean...
Yeah, and that's why I said the thing about the schedule.
Yep. That's funny. But yeah, Scourge of Saltspire, Orc Me Harder. You going to tell me about this one?
Golgothan. Next.
Golgothan does Golgothan things. Yeah.
He is a very, very good coach. If you don't have experience playing against him, it can be very interesting. That's for sure.
Good coach, and here I'm gonna throw some secrets out there that I think Golgothan does this thing better than any other coach that I have played against. Is he adapts his play style to the coach he is playing against. He plays against the coach, not just. I know I'm guilty of. I have a play style that I play, and I play that play style no matter what. Every time I see Golgothan play against someone else, he has a play style for that coach. So
yeah,
I think he's going to adapt for those orcs and do Skaven's things with his very skilled Skaven squad. And yeah, that's that. Last up, Skinky and We Know It versus the Aerial Assault WCW. I have to root for myself on this one, so I don't know that I'm the best one to talk about it, but I'm hoping I can fire those removals on those elves. Aerial Assault is a team, though, that can score with 2 elves on the pitch. So I'm hoping I'm just able to keep the ball away from them enough that I'm able to run away with it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think you'll win it just because you had the pieces to remove some elves, but S Hunter is known for going kind of off meta with his inducement choices.
Yep.
So
it's going to be a tough game.
He might have something that will throw you off.
He definitely will. And like I say, I've seen S Hunter score with just absolute nothing on the pitch, and he's still able to convert that into a touchdown. So my best bet is hoping my Agi 4 and Agi 5 skinks are able to snatch the ball and get out of range.
Yes.
All right.
I
think that wraps it for the week. Any final thoughts?
I hope S Hunter just kills all of your team. It's not going to happen, but I can dream.
Yeah, I don't think that's the team I'm worried about dying against, but we can talk about my team dying next week.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time.